Labour are getting in. They are confirmed to be the new government of the UK. Question is that good news? Is it bad news? How does it affect you? What's my thoughts on it? The answer is, to be honest, I'm pretty indifferent about it. I said that Labour were going to get in. I think everybody knew Labour were going to get in. Their manifesto is just fine. Their manifesto talks about, I mean, if you look at it, I could do a breakdown. Let's look at their manifesto. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, number one, a lot of what they say they're going to do, they might not do. It's like, who voted in Rishi Sunak? Did we vote in Rishi? We didn't vote him in. Who did we vote in? Oh, I don't even remember. When you vote someone in, like Keir Starmer seems like a good guy, okay? I quite like him. He seems sound, he seems to have decent values, but ultimately, he's been voted in, but it might well be that in 2 years' time, it's somebody completely different. We might have Jeremy Corbyn in power. What's going to happen if Jeremy gets in power? Here's the reality, okay? The reality is the manifesto is just fine. They say they're going to build 1.5 million houses over the next election term. That's cool, good. They say they're going to reform the planning system. That'll be good if that happens, nice. They're not going to raise taxes. Okay, let's see. All looks fine. But the reality is this. The reality is that regardless of who's in power, regardless of whether it's Conservative, whether it's Reform UK, whether it's Labour, if you are not making money right now in business, if you're not a millionaire now, you will never be. It's not going to happen. It's certainly not going to be dependent on who's in power. People say, if Reform get in, then I'll be a millionaire. No, you won't. It won't make any difference. You know how ridiculous it looks? I've heard a lot of people that have been messaging me back and forth over Instagram saying, I really hope that Labour do some good things and give me some opportunities and then suddenly the floodgates will open. It's almost like, trying to think of an analogy. I mean, when I was like 17, 18, 19, and I was struggling to become successful and I didn't have any money, and then fast forward 10 years when I was 29, multi-millionaire. Is it because the economy was better? No. Is it because of the taxes? No. Is it because my circumstances were better? No. It's because I learned how to make money. It's because I learned how to run a property business. I learned how to sell. I learned how to market. This is how ridiculous it looks. Okay, let me explain this. Let's say that you are learning to walk. You're a baby that's learning to walk and you're saying, oh, the floor's a bit slippy. You know, it's a bit wet out here. Hopefully the conditions will change and then I'll start walking. No, if you don't know how to walk, then you don't know how to walk. It doesn't matter about what the conditions are. If you know how to walk, you know how to walk. If it's a bit slippy, sure, you might trip a little bit, but ultimately if you know how to walk, you know how to walk. If you know how to ride a bike, you know how to ride a bike. You know how to ski, you know how to ski. You can say, oh, this slope's a bit rough. And what poor people do is they constantly blame the government and the economy rather than creating their own economy. Don't wait for the economy to change. Change your own economy. So, yeah, I mean, if taxes go up, obviously that will affect rich people a tiny little bit, but they're still going to be rich. The poor are still going to be poor. So really, there ain't nothing that could possibly happen in the government. There's no, ultimately as well, the government don't want you to be rich. You know, the government don't care about you being rich. Maybe if we have a really good person in power, they might slightly stop inflation getting out of control. Might slightly bring the gap between the rich and poor slightly closer, but ultimately, stop waiting for things to change. As Jim Rohn says, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Never wish for less problems, wish for more skills. So get the skills. If you know how to walk, you know how to walk. And if you know how to win in business, you know how to win in business. So what do I think about Labour coming in? I think it's completely irrelevant. I think you've got to learn the skills to get rich.